Hey Nomads, this is Amelia here. Welcome to my first ever vlog. What better way to start a vegan vlog than by talking about how I became vegan? It's one that I'm always really interested in every time I meet a new vegan. I find that people either slowly phase into veganism across years, or people just wake up one day and that's it, boom, they're vegan. So for me, I was kind of one of the overnight vegans. So I never even thought I could be vegetarian, let alone vegan. I ate a lot of meat, a lot of dairy, a lot of eggs. Like if I didn't have anything in the flat for lunch, I would just put 4 eggs in a pan and make scrambled eggs and eat that without the bread, without the vegetables, just eat scrambled eggs. I ate all sorts of meat. I was a very picky eater when I was younger, but for the 2 years before I became vegan, I would just eat almost anything. So I very much wasn't discriminatory about what meat I ate. And I was just very much a carnivore. And then there were a few things that happened which led to me actually becoming vegan. And I think they just clicked into place. So the first one was that I wanted to learn how to cook vegetables better, and so just started to get more interested in vegan cooking and went to a few vegan restaurants in Glasgow and really enjoyed the food and really enjoyed the feel of the place, and just felt like the flavours were better than in the stuff that I could cook, and I considered myself a good cook. And then I bought a few vegan books, vegan cookbooks, and started trying to make vegan food and really enjoyed it. But then I started in a waitressing job where I was doing 14-hour shifts and stealing chips off plates, and I got very unhealthy very fast, and veganism just went by the wayside because I didn't really know why I was doing it. And so a few months later, still very unhealthy, I was drinking too much at that point because my whole social life revolved around food and drink, mainly drink, working at the massive restaurant bar that I worked at. And I had health problems all my life, but they started to get much worse. So I'd always had fatigue problems and eating problems. Like I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. I'd binge eat and then eat nothing for several days just to try and slim myself down. I was not overweight, but I was overweight for me, and for certainly compared to where I am now. And then I had constant headache problems and constant mood issues. Like I would be happy one minute and just crying in the corner uncontrollably another minute. It was really bad. And I also had horrible brain fog. My brain was just, it was like static was in my brain all the time. I went to quit my job and I travelled around Ukraine and Poland. While I was in Ukraine, I met a German guy and he told me that he didn't eat much meat. And I was like, well, why is that? And he said, well, I'd like to become vegan, but with travelling, it's just not possible. More about that later, totally possible. And I don't really see a point to being just vegetarian. If I'm eating eggs and cheese, I might as well eat meat. And I said, what? And so he explains about how the dairy and eggs are just a byproduct of the meat industry. So if you're eating eggs and dairy, you're still killing all the animals, basically. And there's still the same amount of blood on your hands. And I was like, what? I had no concept about this whatsoever. And that conversation stuck with me, because I've always loved animals. And then I came back to the UK and I was in my first year of honours at university and trying to write extreme academic essays with there's no static in your brain and falling asleep at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon uncontrollably, and not sleeping at night, and not being able to leave the house because you're just too panicked by everything out there. Like, oh, I was not doing well, and I was something needed to change. And so the first thing that I did was I ended things with my boyfriend, who at the time was part of the unhealthy lifestyle. He was a cocktail barman, so his whole life revolved around alcohol, and he was working until 3 a.m. and then sleeping till 4 p.m. the next day, whereas I very much wanted to move my sleep schedule completely to being almost the opposite. And so we just didn't see anything of each other, and when it was to drink, and I didn't want to drink. And so I broke up with him, but I did it at the awesome vegan place in Glasgow, which if you ever go there you should totally visit, called Stereo. And I was eating this food, and it was the first food that had tasted good to me in absolutely weeks. And when I walked out of there, I was like, I'm going vegan. And I did. And I got home and I looked at the animal products in my fridge, and I just didn't want to eat them. And I picked up my vegan cookbooks, and I went out and I bought a load of food, and after about 2 weeks, my brain fog, I just woke up one morning and it was like, boom, brain, I can think. It was amazing. I stopped falling asleep in the afternoons. My headaches got way better. They're still not gone, but they're way better. I don't get a migraine once a week anymore. It's maybe once every 3 months. So huge improvement. My skin cleared up, and I stopped crying in the corner randomly, which was useful for functioning fairly normally. And so my depression cleared up, and I felt like this guilt, which I never knew was sitting on my shoulders, just lifted. And I felt like I belonged on the planet. Like, it was literally the best decision I've ever made. It wasn't all easy. Because I had been on such an animal product heavy diet, and I changed overnight, my stomach was just like, didn't know what had hit it, and I had enormous stomach pain for about 2 months, and I nearly just packed it in a few times and thought, what's it all about? But I was seeing such good progress elsewhere in my life that I kept it going, and I'm so glad I did, because now my stomach is fantastic. I've also lost about 40 pounds because I had so much energy that I started exercising. I also love eating for the first time ever, and yeah, my life is pretty awesome now, thanks to being vegan. And you should totally go vegan too, by the way. Or if you're on your way there, good work. Like, if you're a step at a time person, that's totally okay too. If you're a crazy extreme person like me, good on you. And friendship-wise, hasn't caused any issues. I've had a few uppity comments from guys I've dated, but that just kind of tells me that I don't want to be dating them. And what else? Traveling, I have a few blogs on that. You should go and check them out, and I will probably vlog at some point on traveling as a vegan. Totally possible. I now live in Taiwan, and I will continue traveling for a good few years at least. Yeah, I think that's it. I have a lot of vegan friends now, but I didn't at the start. My friends were really supportive, as were my family, more or less. My mum is now vegan, my dad is vegetarian, and their lives as well, like their health is so good now. Okay, so if you like this, you should click the like button, press subscribe to me, and you should go to my blog. I write about veganism, solo female travel, budget travel, teaching in Taiwan and living in Taiwan. And you should go to my Instagram, follow that, and my Facebook page as well, give that a like, and hopefully I'll be seeing you again soon.